I didn't realize that slicing your eyeballs was a risk, but it was, and I went and got that service. If you're thinking about getting eyelash extensions, listen up. Before I got my eyelash extensions, I wish that I would have watched a video like the one that I'm about to share with you. I'm going to tell you about my experience getting them, and it's not a very positive experience. Now I know we all want really long, pretty eyelashes. That's why they make fake eyelashes. They make magnetic eyelashes. They make magnetic eyeliner for magnetic eyelashes. And they have eyelash extensions, which I would probably rank as one of the luxury choices for making your eyelashes a little bit longer. At the bottom of the totem pole, of course, there's mascara, right? Just your natural lashes, which is what I have on today. Just my natural lashes with a ton of mascara. I did a ton of research before I actually got my eyelash extensions, but I never saw a video quite like this that maybe would have made me second guess getting them, or at least consider it a little bit more than I did. I saw a lot of videos of girls talking about how excited they were, how pretty they felt, how great it was. It's a little bit more expensive, but consider how much you spend on mascara and false lashes. You know, I saw a lot of videos like that. I just wish that I wish I would have thought about it more. So I'll take you guys to day one when I had my very first appointment. So I saw a friend of a friend post online that she was offering a special for eyelash extensions and booking appointments now, and I was so excited because I had been researching it. I had wanted it for a while. I was a little nervous. I didn't know, A, was it worth it for the price? B, was it safe, healthy, whatever. So I did a little bit of research. From everything that I saw, people really just seemed to love them. I saw a few videos here and there or articles talking about how it didn't work out, but they were extremely old, so I felt like, okay, things have probably progressed. I'm sure it's okay, it seems safe, it seems healthy. All these people are doing it, including my friends who had seemed to have pretty positive experiences. So I was really, really excited. I was so excited, in fact, that my mom came with me to the appointment because she was so interested in doing it herself. I booked my appointment, I went in. I couldn't have been happier when I got there. So I laid down, closed my eyes. If you know anything about eyelash extensions, you know that it is just a single little eyelash that they're placing on each individual lash, which can take a very long time because you have quite a bit of eyelashes. I laid down, got comfy, and she placed the little eye pads that they put underneath of your eyes on me and got to work. I think my appointment was 2.5 hours or so long, so it was a pretty long appointment, but it was also my first appointment, so I didn't have any lashes on already. I know fills are typically a lot shorter amount of time, but anyway, so it was a pretty long appointment. I want to say it was about 30 minutes in, maybe 45, somewhere around there. It had been a while since I'd been there, and I started to notice just a little bit of irritation. And from my research, I had read that some glues can irritate your eye or they can irritate your skin, so I kind of just assumed, okay, I must be sensitive, that's something to keep in mind for the future. She kept going, whatever. And then probably about an hour to an hour and a half, I noticed my eyes, both of them were watering out of the corners like crazy, and they started to feel very much more so irritated than just a little slight problem. I started to feel just pain. They felt very irritated, and she was almost done, so I kind of pushed through it. I thought, whatever, we are not going to use this glue next time. I'm sure everything's fine. She is the professional, not myself. So I just proceeded with it. And when we got done, I stood up from the table, I opened my eyes and looked in the mirror, and the first thing that I noticed was these big, beautiful lashes. I loved them. I thought they looked so pretty. She did a great job. I was so excited. The second thing that I noticed was how incredibly red my eyes were. Both of them were extremely bloodshot. Not only were they bloodshot, they were very irritated. I was in pain. I had said, is this normal? Is this common for people to have very red eyes or to be in this discomfort like I was? She had said that, yeah, that can happen. I'm not really sure. Maybe it was the glue, whatever. So she gave me some eye drops and I went on my way. And I got home and I actually had to anchor the news the next day. So I got home and I'm looking at my eyes constantly because I'm wondering, when is this redness gonna go away, or when is this discomfort gonna go away? So I took a couple ibuprofen over-the-counter pain meds. I thought, you know what, I'll just go to bed early tonight. Hopefully by tomorrow it clears up. I woke up the next morning, and before I even looked in the mirror, I knew my eyes were not better. They immediately felt just as bad as they had the day before. I got up and I looked in the mirror, and they were still extremely red. They were very uncomfortable. It truthfully just felt like something was in my eye, and I had no idea what was going on. I thought, okay, it could still be the glue. I really don't know. Maybe a lash fell in there, so I was looking in my eye and trying to hurry up because I had to get ready for work. Well, I went to work, I did the news, I did my report, and then I went home. And throughout the day, my eye was so irritated. I couldn't stop picking at it. It hurt so bad, both of them. I made an appointment with my doctor right when I got home because I thought something's not right here and I need to figure out what it is. So I went to the doctor. She placed some eye drops in my eye and she shut the light off because the eye drops were supposed to, it was like a dye that appeared in black light. So she shut the lights off and turned like a black light on. And the dye would kind of go to an area where there's an infection or a scrape or something like that. That's what it's for. So she shut the lights off, she turned the black light on, and I will never forget, she gasped like so loud. And I thought, oh my gosh, what's wrong? What did I do? And she flipped the lights on and she sat me up and said, you have 2 incredibly large scratches on your eyes. I had horizontal scratches across my eyes. And what we kind of came to the conclusion was that it was the iPads that were placed under my eye. Now they were taped down on my eye and you would think, how could you not feel that if they were scratching your eye like that for that long of an appointment? I really didn't feel it. I felt uncomfortable after a little while. After that appointment, my doctor gave me some eye drops to take home. She gave me some pain medications. I was set. I had 2 eye scratches, which is why it felt like I had something in my eye. And I went home, did the eye drops, thought it was good to go. And that kind of led me to start researching a little bit about, okay, is this common? I mean, what the heck? How did I never read about this before? And when I started doing some research, I did start to notice that that is something that can happen. I actually think that I had pulled up, and like I said, this was a few years ago, so I don't remember exactly, but I think that I had pulled up like a lash extension course or something like that, or what lash extension techs should know. And it had said that you have to be really careful with iPad placement because it can scratch your eye. I was shocked to read that because it was just something that I had not seen before I went in. And it also said that if your client's eyes are watering, you should stop because something is irritating them, which my tech did not stop, and I didn't tell her to stop either, so that could be part of it. Maybe she just didn't know that my eyes were as irritated as they really were. It also said that you should not be having conversations with your clients because their cheek movement can actually push the iPads up into the eye as they talk. All things that we did at my appointment. We taped them down, we chatted the entire time, which might explain why I started to feel the pain as time went on because we were chatting for longer and longer and longer as they were on. So that did explain kind of why I had the scratches. I actually messaged my lash tech and said, hey, this is what happened. This is why my eyes were so red. I don't know if you've ever heard of something like this. And she had responded and said, oh, I've never even heard of that. I had no idea. Sorry to hear that. She was super nice about it, but I did question why somebody who is doing something on such a serious part of your body, I mean, you need your eyes to see, you don't want to damage them. And I was a little bit concerned that she didn't know that you should stop when their eyes are wandering or that you shouldn't be having a conversation with them. It was odd to me, but I moved on, I got my medications, and about a week later, I was still having this discomfort. Not so much so in this eye, but so much so in this eye. It still felt very uncomfortable. I had finished the medication, the eye drops that was given, and I decided I've got to go back in. So I went back into an actual eye specialist this time because I just wanted to make sure that everything was okay with my eye health and that I wasn't causing any damage and that it was okay for me to be putting makeup on. And they looked at my eye and he had said, you have a scratch on your eye. And I thought, well, go figure. I actually just had one and I just got medication and it should be good to go by now. And he said, well, yeah, I do see a bit of a scratch on your eye. He didn't gasp, so I thought that was good. And it was only on one eye this time. So he sent me home with some medicine and off I went again. And I applied the medicine, put the eye drops in, whatever, and thought I would be good to go, which I say thought because I wasn't. I ended up going back to the same eye specialist with the same issues. It still felt like something was in my eye. And it wasn't so much so every day. It was kind of like every other day or every few days, but it was not a good feeling. It caused extreme headaches. It caused me to feel almost nauseous. I need to use my eyes for my entire day. I am reading for 2.5 hours in the morning and then I'm writing for the rest of my day. It caused a lot of problems for me. So I'm back to this eye specialist and he had said, it looks like it's not really clearing up. Here's some more eye drops. I thought, all right, here we go again. I was really, really hoping that it was gonna work and I could put this all behind me. I was still having issues. So I went to a different eye specialist. He was amazing. I really did feel like he listened to me, and he had said, hey, you have an eye scratch. Here is some medication. I told him the whole backstory about I've seen this doctor and this doctor. Here's what they've given me. What do you think? And he just said, okay, maybe this one's taking a little bit more time to heal. So I got some eye medication again. You know, nothing was really getting better. I just felt like, is this ever gonna end? I ended up using all of my sick days at my job that year that this all happened because of my eye. It's crazy to even think that, right? After reading so many positive experiences and everybody's makeup routine was so much easier, which as was mine, but it was also painful to put my makeup on every day. It was also painful to do my job every day. It was painful to sit down because it was just a constant pain. The days that I didn't have pain were the best days ever, but they were rare days. So I went back to the doctor and said, hey, I am still having issues. I feel like I'm never gonna get better. Am I going to have to live like this forever? And we ended up coming to the conclusion that my eye was strained. It was trying so hard to focus, it couldn't because it had a scratch on it. And he had told me something along the lines of, my eye was trying to scar over that big scratch, and that your eyes don't want to scar because it impacts your vision. So as it builds up this scar, it ends up getting rid of the scar because it doesn't want your vision impacted. The way I kind of understood it was, it's like getting a scab and then ripping that scab off, and then getting a scab and then ripping that scab off, which explains why I had some very good days and some very bad days. That was really tough, and basically what I learned from that was it's just going to take time. Time it has taken, because it's now 2 years later, 2 or even more years later actually, since I got it. Still to this day, I have issues with my eye, but it's not every other day. It's not even every couple of days. It's really probably once a week, if not once every 2 weeks, which makes me very happy. I'm really glad to be able to have so many good days and not be so concerned about my eyes. One thing that I do still struggle with, aside from it just having a bad day every now and again, it is so sensitive. Both of them are. They are so sensitive to light. It is insane. It is unlike they have ever been before. Before any of this, my eyes, I mean, you could go outside, be in the sun, and not wear sunglasses and you'd be okay. Now, if it's a bright, cloudy day, I've got to have sunglasses on. They are so sensitive to light. And if I get even a speck of eyeshadow dust or anything in this bad eye, both of them, but really this eye, it is so painful. It's not like it was before. I mean, typically if you get something little in your eye, you can blink it away, it's fine. You feel a little irritated, it goes away. If I get something in my eye now, it is extremely irritated very quickly, and even once I get it out, it is still irritated for a few minutes afterwards, which is just crazy to me. So that's really what happened during my process of actually getting the lashes put on. It turns out I really didn't have a glue reaction, and I know some people do. At least I don't think that I had much of a glue reaction. But I also did want to mention something else that I noticed, and why I wanted to mention this was because I was actually watching a YouTube video by Leanne Says. She had recently posted a video talking about how she's removing her eyelash extensions from home because of the pandemic. She isn't able to get in and get fills, she had said, and she also wasn't able to go into a salon to get them removed professionally. And I think she had mentioned that she'd had them for a few years consistently. And so she filmed herself removing them, and I was very interested in this video, as I am any videos about people's experiences with eyelashes, because I just like to hear, did anybody else have an experience like mine? You know, for so long I just felt so frustrated where it was like doctor after doctor after doctor, and nobody quite could figure out what the pain was until I had gone to 3 doctors. And that was very frustrating, and it felt like nobody understood. It was very hard when I had just started a new job and I was taking all of my sick time because of an eye issue that I chose to go get. I didn't realize that slicing your eyeballs was a risk, but it was, and I went and got that service. After I decided the lashes could no longer be a thing anymore, I decided to just kind of let them fall out naturally. I just didn't want anything else touching my eyes. I didn't want anybody else messing with my eyes. I didn't want any chemicals near my eyes for obvious reasons. They were extremely sensitive, they hurt, and I was so worried about having anybody even come close to them. And I can't even remember how long it took. It was the worst process ever because, of course, if you work a typical job where your face isn't blown up on an HD camera, you might not be very worried about it, but I was very worried about it. Like I said, I was newer at my job and I wanted to look professional. I wanted to be presentable, and I wanted to look nice. And I did not feel like I looked nice when I had just straggly, a couple super long lashes. and not to mention my natural lashes were very short. So what I ended up doing was buying a strip set of natural lashes, or very natural looking false lashes, and I just glued them on every single day. I did wake up and spend the extra time to do that because I hardly had any lashes to put mascara on, and the few that I did were extremely long, crazy looking lashes out of nowhere because a lot of them had fallen out. So I put strip lashes on for a couple weeks until my natural lashes grew out just a bit, which honestly, it really didn't take that long. I know a lot of people are worried about that. It really didn't take that long. And if I didn't do my job where I'm on TV, I'm on a visual platform, I really wouldn't have bothered with the false lashes. So I did that for a little while, and once my lashes were grown to the point where I felt comfortable enough to just wear mascara and all the lash extensions had fallen off, something that I noticed that I wanted to bring up, and this is why I refer to the video that Leanne Says had recently posted. She had talked about, after she got her lashes removed, that they looked frayed. And I mean, you are putting a chemical, you're putting glue on them and putting weight on them. So I get that frayed look, right? You dye your hair, you have frayed hair. I understood that that could possibly happen with these lash extensions. So when I saw her video, I wasn't surprised. I also wasn't surprised because it had happened to me too. Something that she did mention though that just caught my attention was she talked about how her eyelashes were pointing in strange directions. She said that it almost looked like she had slept on them wrong, and I have never related to something more because to this day, years later, my lashes still are like that, which is so frustrating, weird. I don't understand why. I think that there's a lot of reasons that could explain it. I think one of the biggest reasons is the weight that you put on your lashes with these lash extensions can possibly affect their hair growth cycle. I don't know if that's true. I'm not a scientist. I'm not an eye expert. I have no idea. That's just one of my guesses. Now you can probably see actually, if I just look in the viewfinder here, here is one of them that just hangs down right here. And really for the rest of them, it's tough to even show you, but that is just one of them that I always notice, and so I thought I'd show you guys that one up close. That one isn't even that bad, but I have a lot of them that just grow into my eyes. It's like, instead of growing up, they grow this way. And it is miserable. And so this is really horrible, and I hate to even say this on camera, but I actually had to pull a lot of them out with tweezers because they would grow into my eye and just scratch and scratch and scratch and just irritate the heck out of my eye. And I didn't know what else to do, and I know that's horrible. Believe me, before I did that, I used to put Vaseline on them, hoping that that would help reshape them or moisturize them or something, and it just, nothing helped. So I would have to pull them out. And believe me, I tried an eyelash curler. I still try an eyelash curler. Even with this one that I just showed you, it just does not stay curled. It won't stay in place. It's just out of place, and it ends up hooking onto my bottom eyelashes and yanking them up too, and it's just all sorts of nonsense. And after I saw Leanne Says' video, I had to jump on here and share my story because even though her story wasn't really talking negatively about the experience, and I'm not either, I just want to share my story with you guys and let you know something that could possibly happen because it happened to me. When she was talking about the frayed and strange directions that her lashes were pointing in, I felt like, oh my gosh, I relate to somebody else went through what I went through. I'm not the only one. And by sharing my experience, I hope that somebody who possibly had an experience like me can see this and feel like they're not alone. And maybe this is something that doctors weren't able to find out with you either, because I don't think that a lot of the doctors that I had gone to, and I'm sure it's different now, but we're very familiar with eyelash extensions and the risks that could happen. So by sharing my experience, I really do hope that this can make you decide, is it worth it or not? I can say this with 100% certainty. To me, it's not worth it. It is not worth my eye health. It was not worth possibly not being able to do my job. I need to be able to see to do my job. I need to be able to see to anchor. I value my eye health a lot. That was a very negative experience on my eye health. It was a negative experience mentally too. I would come home from work every day, especially right when it all started, when I was still very confused about kind of what was going on, and I would have an excruciating headache. I would be in a lot of pain, and I felt nauseous half the time, and it was really hard because I would just come home and I didn't want to go do anything. The first thing I would do when I walked in the door was get my makeup off as fast as I could, because that only irritated them more, and lay on the couch with a warm washcloth on my eye and try to take a nap and hope that when I woke up it would go away. It was very frustrating, and the days that I would go do stuff, I would just be so focused on the pain and reminding myself, don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it, because it wasn't gonna help. It was just gonna irritate it even more. So I just try to avoid to not touch it. It was really, really frustrating. And I know it sounds so silly, but it was just something that people could not see, no pun intended, but something very big that was going on mentally and physically for me. And so after all of that, my mom, by the way, did not end up getting them, and she is very much against doing so just because of the experience that I had. And this isn't to tell anybody not to get them. Like I said at the very beginning, I had a lot of friends who had them at the time. I still do have a lot of friends who have them at the time. I'm sure you follow a lot of people who have them, and maybe even you have them right now. There's nothing wrong with them. I'm just sharing what my experience was like. It wasn't a positive experience, and I'm sure a lot of people will say, maybe it was your lash technician, maybe she didn't know enough, and maybe that's true, I don't know, and maybe it was my chubby cheeks that pushed those eye pads up into my eyes. I really don't know. I don't think that there's anyone to blame. This is just an experience. This is me sharing something that happened to me, and this is me hopefully giving somebody advice and giving you something to consider before you make that plunge into getting eyelash extensions, because they're expensive. So I don't want anybody to be spending money on something that could possibly result like mine did. Years and years of eye pain, eye issues, eye drops. I had to start buying lubricating drops and putting them on my eyes 6 times a day, and I still do. I actually do invest in very expensive eye wipes. It's been a lot. I also had to pay for all of my eye doctor appointments. It was a very unfortunate experience, I guess is the right word. So yeah, I just really hope that this can help somebody who's kind of on the brink of making this decision, or maybe like me, they had only seen all the positive things that could happen and maybe no negative things. And so hopefully that this will help balance out your decision. Do you want to do it or not? I have so many friends with them and they've had such great experiences. I have had friends who have gone in and also got their eyes scratched. None of them as bad as mine, but it can happen. And I think it's important for people to know both the positives of looking gorgeous and the negatives of, you know, possibly some eye health issues. I will leave you guys with that. If you have any questions about my experience, please do not hesitate to reach out. I would love to answer any questions. If you're wondering about what kind of mascara I use to keep my lashes thick now that I don't have extensions, feel free to check out my makeup routine video. It's not a makeup tutorial, but it is just me going through the products that I use that make me feel pretty even without eyelash extensions. So thank you guys so much for listening to my experience. I cannot stress enough how much I hope this video helps somebody who is on the brink, or maybe just gives somebody out there who went through what I did somebody to relate to. I know that I wish that I had somebody to relate to when I was going through that, or just somebody to say, hey, when did it get better? Which, like I said, it did get a lot better, and it is a lot better. I do still have issues today, and hopefully as the future progresses, the issues will minimize as they have in the past. Thank you again, guys, so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Comment down below if you've had a similar experience as me, or maybe you've had an amazing experience and you want people to know that too. Comment that down below. Like I said, this is not to shame anybody. This is to share my experience. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.